We are just breezing through hour two here, keeping my eye on the top story today. Dow still in free fall mode. Was recovering about a half hour ago from the lows of the day, but it seems to be sinking again. And Dow down 880 as we speak. Not quite the low of the day, down 1,000. But someone who knows a lot about the markets and the behavior of the folks who work right down here in the New York Stock Exchange, my good friend, political analyst Tim Collins and general manager of Bobby Van's Steakhouse joins us. Hey, buddy, how are you?
Great.
So first and foremost, you're my resident Democrat friend, so I have to listen to a lot of the hogwash you feed me because I respect you, and you listen to mine because you respect me. But you thought Biden was surging, then it looked like he was dead in his tracks. What do you think now with South Carolina primary tomorrow?
Well, I think we're getting exactly what we paid for. We talked about this in a couple of previous shows, and we knew that Biden was going to take a shellacking in New Hampshire and Iowa, and he just had to really bide his time until he could get to the states with the large African-American populations. And you take a look now at the polling after a very successful performance the other night. You know, Bernie was really incoming from all directions. And
I thought Biden had a very successful performance in the debate. You know that he pointed out that 150 million people were killed in gun crimes. There's only 300 million people in
He did. It's a good thing that most Americans are very low information voters.
So they weren't following that.
They don't really get that.
Snippet. Every week he's got a gift. He doesn't have enough mouths.
That's what people love about Joe Biden.
Yeah.
You know what? He's not going to be accused of being dishonest. He might be wrong, but he's not dishonest. But you have seen since then, if you take a look at latest polling, he's had a significant increase in his lead over Bernie Sanders. The aggregated polls are showing him about a 12-point lead, but it was even up to 15 in yesterday's latest Emerson
poll.
You're
talking about just in South Carolina.
Just in South Carolina.
In the national polls.
However, he's also doing extremely well in all the other Super Tuesday states that do have, in some cases in the Democratic Party, majority African-American population. So he's doing well in all of those. And the bad news for him, I think, is that, California he's very behind in California, and he's not likely to pick much up there. But he looks to be polling within that realm that he can pick up delegates in California. So There's a lot to go around in California.
There's an actual food fight going on the left now for those delegates, and who knows what's going to happen if it's going to be a brokered convention. But for those of you at home that don't know, I also belong to a very prestigious club. It's called the Friends of Fermentation. And this is a group of men who get together every day after the market closes at Bobby Van's restaurant, Tim's establishment. He welcomes us there. It's led by our courageous leader, Arthur Cashin, a legendary Wall Street figure. And we stand around and, as Arthur says, marinate ice cubes and talk about the issues of the day and what happened with the market. I was there yesterday with you. It looked like a pretty crowded house.
Yeah, it was really good. It was a great day. We and a lot of the Friends of Fermentation are still coming in. We're wishing Arthur a speedy recovery. It was just a tragic accident that occurred that day. I was actually the first on the scene when it happened. It was really really enough to shake you up when you arrive to something like that, and
see the guy bleeding out of his forehead.
He's bleeding. He's 80 years old. He sustained a couple of other serious injuries.
I want to ask you this because I want to see if we can create maybe some kind of new indicator. With the coronavirus, the markets are down huge. We've, kind of regurgitated a year's worth of gains in a week here. Our meat, prime rib, T-bone, any steak sales down because of the coronavirus?
I'm going to put this week on Lent. I'm going to write it off to Lent. But I have to say, having lived through 2008 in the same business, in the same place, 2008 itself was actually a good year for us. It was the wreckage of 2009 that really hurt us. I remember when Lehman Brothers these guys all knew it was going down. These cards were on fire. They come in. We can't get rid of these credit cards fast enough. What's the maximum on this one?
Cards are on fire.
So, right now.
For those of you in the heartland out there, years ago in good times, all these big institutional firms, their big traders and brokers would have a corporate card. When he says it was on fire, he means he knows that they knew things were happening and they were buying everybody steaks, wine, and everything.
It was
bang
crazy.
It out.
It's like the last days of Sodom and Gomorrah.
You don't see any of that right now. You don't see the cards on fire theory going yet.
Not yet, but you know what? These heavy volume days are always big days for us. We can plan on it. If the market is down 1,000 points, or I guess it was a record yesterday, almost 1,200, we know that it's going to be busy.
Give me
You know,
a
they're
prediction
either
for tomorrow.
drinking, they're either drinking because they had success, or they're drinking more because they didn't.
have success.
So we had it was a really good day for us yesterday.
You were hosting an esteemed group of guys yesterday, including one Joe Dente, my good friend, and I want to say hello to his dad, Dominic, military veteran and regular everyday watcher, Dominic Dente. Thanks for tuning in. Richard DeChico was there from
Oh, yeah,
Grant.
I saw-
We had
yeah. It was a nice crowd.
major thing.
Yeah.
Tim, thank you for always making yourself available
my pleasure.
to us. Let's keep our eye on the cards on fire theory, and I'll check in with you next week on the meat correlation to the market meat correlative index. That's what we're going to go.
We'll see if we have. Okay.
Thank you, my buddy. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back with the WTF, What the Facts. Frankie's going to correct my mistakes from today's show right after this.